Welcome to the second episode of our video tutorial series, Hello WatchKit. In this episode, we'll be looking at how you can add a map to your WatchKit app. To get started, I'll go ahead and fire up Xcode by hitting Command Space on my keyboard and then typing Xcode. We'll stick with the same project we were using before, and if you missed that, go back and watch episode 1 of the tutorial series. The next thing we want to do is actually add a new interface controller, so we'll go ahead and drag that out from the object library. And then we want to add a map object into it. So we'll drag that out from the object library. So how do we get from this interface over to our new map? Well, we can use a button to do that. So after I've searched the object library and dragged over my button, I can hold Control and drag over from that to the new interface and say push. This will add a segue, and it will also give us a handy back button in the upper left-hand corner of the interface. So let's go ahead and change the title of our button to View Map. And now we need a way to actually control the map that's on this interface. To do that, we need a new interface controller in our WatchKit extension. So I'll highlight the WatchKit extension in the project navigator, and I'll right-click and say New File. We want an iOS source Cocoa Touch class, and I'll search for WK Interface Controller. Prepend the word map, so we have a map interface controller. We want it to save in our WatchKit extension, so that's correct, and we'll click Create. Now that we have our new map interface controller, we can go to the storyboard and hook up this interface to that controller. To do that, go over here to the Identity Inspector, and in the Class dropdown, select the map interface controller. Now it's all hooked up, and we can use the Assistant Editor to actually provide an outlet for our map. So I'll control drag from the map just below the class definition in the interface controller, and I'll call it map object. Next, I'll go in my awake with context function because this is what gets called when the interface loads up. First thing we need to do is just pick a location for our map. We notice here that we're using CL location coordinate 2D, and we're using its initializer methods where you can specify a latitude and a longitude. In this case, this is near Northern California. The next thing we need to do is set the zoom level. So to do that, we used a coordinate span. And this is basically saying, how far away from that latitude and longitude do I want to let the map zoom out to? By experimentation, I found out that 10 were pretty good values, and that way you could see the whole state of California. Now you'll notice that what I'm doing is adding an annotation pin. In this case, I'm adding a pin that's colored purple. You could add an image if you wanted to. You don't have to use the default pins that Apple provides. Apple's design guidelines recommend using a purple pin if you want to show a single location. Also, you'd want to use a green pin and a red pin for the start and finish points if you're giving directions. And the final thing to do is actually tell the map what region we want to display. Since we've already set up our location and our coordinate span, that's easy enough. Okay, we're all done with the code, so now let's go ahead and test it out in the simulator. We see, first of all, that we've got our new button there for View Map, and if we tap on it, then we see that our map is displayed. The coordinate span set how zoomed in the map was, and you see that we added the purple pin there. If you try dragging the map around, it won't work. Nor will it work zooming in or zooming out. It's basically just a static image, but it still is cool that Apple generates the map image for us. Also notice that we got that back button in the upper left-hand corner since we did the push segue when we connected our two interface controllers together. So that's it. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll go over how to use a single interface controller to make multiple swipeable pages in your WatchKit app.